Hey everybody. So it's like 4 a.m, just got off a phone call. And I like to stay true to, what I say. Like, I'm there for veterans that are suffering from mental health issues, depression, suicidal thoughts. I'll be there. Lately, especially during this time, the pandemic, there's a lot of issues going on where isolation is becoming an issue for mental health, right? So not just for veterans, but anybody suffering from mental health issues, whether it's depression, suicidal thoughts, anger, whatever. Let's try to solve this problem in the short time that I have by hacking your life. Let's hack our brain. Let's go use words that people can understand without sounding too complex. All right, so here we go. So the negative feelings that you get, whether it's anger, fear, sadness, depression, thoughts of suicide, thoughts of harming other people, let's think of that as negative behaviors and categorize that as de-stress. So we have stress, right? So a lot of people don't understand that there's different types of stress, de-stress and eustress. The eustress is all the feel-good stuff. That's still a stress that's on your body. Then you have de-stress, which is all these negative thoughts, behaviors, feelings, whatever. And we have to understand where they come from, right? So if you think about a human being is still a living being, which is still an animal, and we've had to come from somewhere and evolve from something in order to be who we are today. So if you understand how the brain works and everything like that, it's always evolving. And one of the evolutions that we've had into the brain is being able to take care of ourselves, to breathe, to have fear, to have that fight or flight sensation, which is, why we're still here. It's why we're still alive. It's why we're cautious about things. It's why we fear things, or we don't like things, or we get angry, and that causes us to survive, right? So individuals that suffer from trauma or post-traumatic stress, which I mostly deal with, those are all mechanisms that keep you alive. So when I'm stressed, when I'm angry, when I'm depressed, it's keeping me alive. For individuals that have suicidal ideations or, the idea of thought of hurting themselves, that's just a really bad, experience that you had with this de-stress, right? So thinking about the human brain, and there's a little piece that's in there, it's the size of an almond, and it's called your amygdala. And that amygdala actually sends out this hormone, which is also known as the stress hormone or cortisol, throughout your whole body. So when you have a counselor, a therapist, or whoever telling you to calm down and take a breath, there's actually a scientific explanation to that. By breathing, we're allowing our bloodstream to flow all that oxygen, all that stuff that's in our system, which is cortisol, throughout our body, having us tense up, having us, having that feeling of anxiety, that rush, that adrenaline, all of that is kicked in by cortisol. So how do we dissipate the cortisol? By breathing, by allowing our circulation to disperse all that cortisol, because it's all built up and you're getting like all antsy, you're getting pissed, you're getting sad, you're being depressed, you're getting angry, and all of those sensations come through your body with whatever triggers you to feel that way. And a trigger could be something as easy as, like, let's say I don't like something and it, just so happens to fall on my lap, and then all of a sudden I get angry about it, or I get depressed or sad, or I miss somebody. And those are all negative behaviors. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. Sometimes something sad can make you happy because you remember it and stuff. And there's a reason for that. It's because we tweak that sensation, that feeling, and oh my God, I think I just solved the problem. We just need to tweak our behaviors by acknowledging what triggers us and changing that to a more palatable experience, right? Because it's an experience that you're going through, whether you're mad, angry, sad, depressed, anxious, or whatever. It's that experience you're going through. And these experiences, sometimes they become overwhelming, especially when you hate somebody, when you want to hurt somebody, when you're feeling sad, when you're feeling depressed, or you want to hurt yourself because you've lost hope and everything like that. And we could talk about that all day long, but at the end of the day, you make that commitment to be angry, to be sad, to be depressed. And we could change those behaviors by isolating those triggers and changing them to something that we want to make us feel better, right? Still understanding that cortisol is still in our bloodstream and we need to dissipate that. So take a couple deep breaths, think of something else. What I usually tell people is, what's your favorite color, right? And then they'll tell me their favorite color, which totally doesn't matter, but it's getting them to think about something else. And then I tell them, go find 5 things around your house or around you that of a color that you don't like. So I don't like bright colors, so I'm always looking for yellows and oranges. Let's say it's orange, so I'm gonna take a couple deep breaths, real deep breaths. Go look at something at orange, go touch it, oh, yuck. What else is orange? Yuck. What else is orange? I'm purposely going out of my way to think of something else when I don't have to, and I'm going there, touching it or whatever. I'm getting my head space, my whole mind out of that experience into something else, and by the time I know it, I don't feel bad anymore. I don't have those de-stress feelings, and I'm just man, wasn't worth it. And you'll realize that once you start taking control of yourself, because it is about responsibility, and nobody's more responsible for yourself than yourself. You can't rely on anybody else, to make the decisions that you're going to be making, and that's your God-given right. And, if you want to get better, you have to get better. And this is a simple way that therapists and doctors, they do all the time. That's pretty much the basis of cognitive behavioral therapy. We could go on a tangent about, medication, holistic medication, and all this other stuff. That's just a different method of hacking into your body. If we want to get into medication, what we're doing is making those experiences dull with medication. With some holistic medicine that, individuals are doing for their trauma or their stresses and stuff like that, it usually is very much supervised, but it's pretty much you're chemically imbalancing yourself to have a more pleasant experience with your negative experience, and hopefully that replaces it. So now when I think of things and I just got drugged up by a bunch of holistic medicine, now I'm just gonna be oh well, it doesn't bother me anymore, because they've learned how to process that experience through holistic drugs. And you could also do that with, doctor prescribed medication, depending on what it is. But what we're really trying to do is hack the brain, and that's what we do to hack the brain. I mainly prefer to use psychotherapy with individuals, and it works. It takes some time, but what you're gonna really benefit from is the commitment of that individual to change. And their change is their responsibility. A therapist can tell them to do something every single day. The only person that's going to make that experience change is that individual that's experiencing it themselves. So if you guys learn anything from this, breathe, think about other things, understand what your triggers are. And it's not a bad thing. People use it a lot in the media, and sometimes it gets overrated and overused, but it's that person's experience that is really, more important than what anybody else has to say, because nobody's going to go through depression like you, but you. Nobody's going to go through anger like you, but you. And we could all change those behaviors to, kind of live in the normalcy of society, to be a better human being, to be a better person. And you're not doing it just for everybody else, you're doing it for yourself. Because obviously we've been struggling, I myself, and that's why I got into this field. I wanted to understand what was happening with me being a combat veteran, diagnosed with PTSD. There's a lot of negative stigma towards it, and I didn't like it, and at the end of the day, I didn't like myself, and I started noticing my changes in behavior, and I wanted to get it in check. So understanding the science behind being stressed and living with my de-stress, You know, it's definitely something I've been personally going through, but it would have been faster if I knew, you know, what to do. Now that I do, I share it with everybody else, and hopefully it works, because it will work, but you have to be committed to change. And if you're not committed to change, you're just gonna have these negative experiences, you know, until you make that commitment to get better. And remember, take care of yourself. You know, self-care is always good. If you need help, there's help everywhere. You just have to be able to know where to look for it. And the first place you should look is start asking everywhere. You know, go to the doctors, ask them about like how to get better. Google, search it. Holy cow, it's easy. You know, I don't know what's in your place or in your neck of the woods, but help is out there. There's government institutions that are specifically designed to help you. You know, if you're a veteran, there's the VA. They're not gonna stop you from getting help when a lot of our experiences that we have, you know, kind of mold and shape our lives. And it's made us who we are today, whether you believe it or not. For anybody who's not in the military, there's all the social services that are out there to help you. So wherever you guys are, stay safe, stay in that fight, man. Have a great night.